18. The Love Apple and the Great Porn Debate. Dear Kiddo, take my hand into darkness, the love apple and the great porn debate. Taos, land of art, mountains, and, apparently, discussions about Asian pornography, marital ethics, and masturbation etiquette. If you ever find yourself driving toward a picturesque mountain town with someone who casually drops a conversation bomb like, "My dad got caught with some spicy internet bookmarks," consider turning the car around. But, alas, I didn't. Because it was possible, it was necessary, and I was still trying to figure out if Mom's brand of chaos was charmingly eccentric or a full-on red flag parade. The prelude, Denver's ghosts and Taos's unsettling vibes. Let me set the stage. It had been 6 weeks since Mom's meltdown in the Denver parking garage, an event so alarming it could have doubled as a scene from The Exorcist. Yet somehow we had patched things up, or at least papered over the cracks with enough normal moments to give me the illusion that we were okay. Fast forward to my birthday trip to Taos, where things started with scenic drives and small talk but soon veered into the conversational equivalent of driving off a cliff. Porn and family politics, a Taos telenovela. As we cruised along the winding roads to Taos, Mom brought up the scandal du jour, her father's recent discovery by Mom's mother of his penchant for Asian persuasion pornography. Now, I don't know what's worse, being caught in the act, or having your family turn it into a multi-week seminar complete with panel discussions. Either way, her dad was under fire, and Mom was very much on the case. "They've been married since they were teenagers," she exclaimed, her indignation spilling over like bad gravy. How could he? I, being the reasonable birthday boy that I was, tried to offer a little perspective. Look, they've been together forever. If looking at a few pictures online is the worst he's done, maybe they should cut him some slack. Apparently, this was not the answer Mom was looking for. Her face tightened like I'd just suggested her father join a nudist commune. "Pornography is trashy," she declared, the word trashy ringing out like a gavel in a courtroom. Dinner at the Love Apple, where things got even weirder. Later that night, we dined at the Love Apple, a cash-only Taos institution that is apparently where people go to overpay for the privilege of eating in a former Catholic church. While I was trying to enjoy my overpriced quinoa, Mom pivoted from her father's sins to a more personal revelation, her third husband's staunch opposition to porn. "He never looked at it," she said with an air of pride, as though she were describing his stance on littering or jaywalking. "Okay, good for him, I guess," I replied, trying to steer the conversation toward literally anything else, like the weather or the history of quinoa. But no, Mom wasn't done. Her next declaration? "I would never masturbate. If I feel like getting off, I'll just find someone to sleep with." Let me repeat that for emphasis. I'll just find someone to sleep with. The mask slips, and so do my eyebrows. Now, let's pause here. Imagine you're on a romantic birthday getaway with someone who looks you dead in the eye over a candlelit dinner and essentially says, "Self-sufficiency is for losers. I outsource my orgasms." It wasn't just the content of what she said. It was the way she said it, like she was sharing a profound life hack. I stared at her, utterly baffled. Was she joking? Testing me? Channeling the spirit of some unhinged self-help guru? The idea struck me as tawdry and cheap, two qualities Mom claimed to loathe. And yet here she was, unironically advocating for what she would normally call trashy behavior. The irony was thick enough to spread on a biscuit. Mom as a parrot, the female friend theory. One thing I had noticed about Mom was her uncanny ability to parrot the sentiments of her friends. If a girlfriend of hers made a bold claim or shared a spicy opinion, Mom would repeat it verbatim, as though it were her own deeply held belief. This seemed like one of those moments. Some wild-eyed friend had probably said, "Never waste time with yourself, honey. Get out there." And Mom had internalized it as gospel. The strange part was how socially tone-deaf it was. Even if she truly felt that way, why share it with me, her romantic partner? Was this some bizarre power play, a test of my reaction? Or was it just another example of her pulling back the mask and revealing a side of herself that didn't align with the careful, curated image she usually presented? The aftermath. Questions without answers. As I sat there in stunned silence, Mom seemed unfazed, as though this was a perfectly reasonable topic of conversation. I couldn't help but wonder, Was this just her being brutally honest, or was it a crack in the facade? The more time I spent with her, the more I realized how much of her personality felt like an elaborate patchwork quilt, stitched together with pieces borrowed from other people. It wasn't just her odd opinions or inappropriate timing. It was the way she seemed to thrive on contradictions. She would call something trashy one minute and then embody it the next. She would rail against pornography, while casually suggesting promiscuity as a perfectly valid substitute for introspection. Conclusion: the birthday that wasn't quite about me. That birthday trip to Taos was a turning point, though I didn't realize it at the time. It was the moment I began to see the cracks in the veneer, the places where Mom's carefully constructed persona didn't quite hold together. Whether it was parroting bad advice, veering into oversharing territory, or casually dismissing things that most people hold sacred, she was a puzzle, wrapped in an enigma, wrapped in a heaping pile of WTF. So, dear kiddo, if there's one lesson you take from this, let it be this. If someone casually brings up their father's porn habits and their own disdain for self-sufficiency on your birthday, pay attention. It's not a quirky anecdote. It's a billboard-sized red flag that says, strap in, this ride only gets weirder.